landed in Juno Beach in Normandy and began the liberation of Europe and the defeat of the evil that was Nazism and fascism. So we're commemorating that as a way of making sure that we remember it, because we take democracy for granted often, but it is a precious thing which was gained thanks to the sacrifice of many in our armed forces through their lives, through injuries, through psychological, seeing one's friends and relatives, being killed in effect. And today we remember that, because if we remember, then we'll make sure that we maintain the preciousness that is democracy. That's what today is about.
Is it a little disappointing at this small turnout?
No, I think it's an excellent turnout. We have a very few people, civilians, if you will. Our military branches are here in excellent presence. It's a very good turnout. We go for quality as well.
Yes.
And because quality has a bigger effect on society than quantity does often as well.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Thank you.
Remember those D-Day veterans who fought for our country and never returned. And we recognize their sacrifice for our freedom. Ask you please to stand once again and join Deputy Commander Leo Leach from the Toronto EMS Honor Guard as we sing our national anthem. Thank you, Neil. Please be seated. I'd like to call on Deputy Mayor Joe Pantalone, who will address you and read the City of Toronto D-Day proclamation.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us to commemorate the events of D-Day. On behalf of Mayor David Miller, City Council, and the 2.6 million people who live in our city, I want to express our gratitude to those who were part of one of the Allied forces offensive that changed the course of the Second World War. This was the beginning of the end of the war. I want to recognize the distinguished veterans joining us today. Their heroic and selfless acts are why we come together on this day each and every year. We remember those who did not make it home from the front lines or have since passed away. I want to thank the youth here today for helping to keep the memory of this moment in history alive. It is especially important that you and the generations to follow keep these stories alive, or we risk losing them forever. I especially ask you to think about our veterans who join us today. Many Canadian soldiers in the Normandy campaign were young, not much older than many of you are now. Sadly, Canada suffered a great number of casualties. That is why it is so important to take time to reflect and to remember. Never forget the horror of war, and always remember the soldiers who perished or those who returned. We are, of course, here to commemorate the 66th anniversary of D-Day. And we're here to recognize and show our gratitude to the thousands of Canadian soldiers, sailors, airmen, and all the women who served, those who gave and sacrificed so much in defense of our freedom. It is truly a privilege to hear their stories, and I appreciate that those stories are often incredibly difficult to tell. Stories of their participation in the most significant combined military operation in history. Stories of lost friends and of experiences that changed them are the stories of both glorious triumph and heartbreaking tragedy. We are grateful to our veterans and what they did for Canada, for all of us. I'm honored to be in the presence of our veterans who we hold in such a highest of regard. Shortly, you will meet Edward Teddy O'Halloran. He was a warrant officer in the Queen's Own Rifles. His daughter, Joanne O'Halloran, will tell us about her father's experiences. Mr. O'Halloran landed with the first wave on Juno Beach in Normandy 66 years ago today. He was a stretcher bearer medic and spent that day administering first aid to the wounded and capsules of morphine to his dying comrades. 5 days later, on June 11, 1944, Mr. O'Halloran was badly wounded. While recuperating in Southampton Canadian Soldiers Hospital, Mr. O'Halloran received news that his older brother, Jimmy, had been killed in action while leading a tank platoon with the Governor General's House Guards in Italy on May 30, 1944. Mr. O'Halloran recovered from his wounds and rejoined his unit in Holland. He was wounded again by bomb shrapnel during the Allied liberation of Belgium and Holland. Mr. O'Halloran is a retired medic from the City of Toronto's Emergency Medical Services. He now lives in Guelph with his wife Hetty, daughter Joanne, son-in-law Michael, and his 3 grandsons. I would like now to invite Teddy O'Halloran and his daughter Joanne to join me as I read the D-Day proclamation today. Proclamation is, Toronto remembers D-Day, June 6, 2010. Whereas 66 years ago today, the Allied invasion of Normandy was a daring and remarkable military feat that marked a turning point in the course of World War II. On June 6, 1944, hundreds of thousands of men and women took part in what became the largest military invasion in history, and the success of Operation Overlord led to the liberation of occupied Europe and the eventual defeat of Nazi Germany. We are tremendously proud that Canadians made up 1/3 of the combined air, naval, and ground forces that took part in the invasion. Units of the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division and the 4th Canadian Armoured Brigade were among those who stormed the shore of Juno Beach that fateful morning. Canadian paratroopers were among the first to land in France in the early hours, and over 50 ships of the Royal Canadian Navy, including HMCS Haida, and 37 squadrons of the Royal Canadian Air Force took part. We pay tribute to D-Day veterans and all Canadians who served overseas and on the home front during World War II, and remember the courage and the sacrifices they made. Now therefore, Mayor David Miller, on behalf of Toronto City Council, do hereby proclaim June 6, 2010 as Toronto Remembers D-Day to mark the 66th anniversary in honor of the men and women who fought for the peace and freedom we enjoy today, and signed by the Mayor on behalf of us all. I'd like to present this to Mr. Hall.